Hey there guys, EctoMaster here, and welcome to the very first edition of Ask Ecto, where you send in questions and I answer them. Usually I will gather them up into a topic, and I will answer them that way. This week, seeing as it's the very first episode of this, I'm just going to answer questions about I'm looking at the camera so I can see my prosthetic. So without further delay, let's get into the very first question. Okay, so what's the deal with the prosthetic? Well, the basic story is you have to go back to 1984, which is 31 years ago. I was born and unfortunately had multiple birth defects. To go through the list quite quickly, my pupils they do not dilate. My right kidney is missing. My right leg was missing bones in the lower portion of the leg, and my teeth actually ended up being one as well, but we didn't find out that until much later. The reason of the leg missing the bones, they had to amputate when I was 2 years old, so about 29 years ago. And ever since then, I have been using a prosthetic. That's the magical thing of it. I have been using a prosthetic for 29 years. I don't have memories of not using one ever. It's always been there. I've always had it. I've always used it, and it's been fun. I mean, not many people can say that. I know quite a few. I don't know personally, but I know quite a few stories where somebody has an accident and that they have to have a leg amputated or an arm amputated, and they don't know what to do at that point because they've had a leg for 20 years or 30 or 40 years or however long. For me, I've never had one. I've not had one a lot longer than I've had one. I was 5 years old and I had prosthetics longer than I've had a physical leg, so it's not something that is easy to describe having. So the next question, what is it like to have a prosthetic? Well, as I kind of ended the last question there, it's hard to describe. A lot of people really don't understand it, and I'm gonna try not to get a little emotional here. My dad was in a car accident last year, and he looked at me one day and has multiple times since then said to me that until this accident he respected me, but not to the point that he respects me now, because he didn't realize how much of a struggle it was until he actually broke what was left of my leg. He broke into his right leg, and he didn't know what it was like, and physically he could not relate, and now he can, and how much of a struggle it is for me, and he kind of understands that. So it's not something that is easy to describe. I do know that I faced some challenges with it. I've always had some challenges with the prosthetic. No matter what, when you do something like this drastic, you're always going to have challenges. And not getting into the whole social of everything, well, everyone's got challenges. Yes, they do, but I see different challenges using a prosthetic. So what kind of challenges do I face? Well, number one, trying to find the best way to say this. Certain aspects of daily life, things that you have to do, to put it a little less bluntly, sometimes going to the bathroom, not the easiest thing in the world to do. There are a lot of times I have to take the leg off in order to go to the bathroom. So I don't tend to, that, and then I have to put it back on afterwards. I mean, that's one thing. I know I get in trouble at work sometimes because my pants, for example, are always wrinkled. Um, part of that is because, as you can see, it's standing up behind me. Here, I'm sorry, I keep on forgetting it's over my left. It's standing up behind me in order to put pants on. So, it's got shorts on it right now. Shorts, I love shorts. I love, A, showing off the leg because I don't care, and B, it's just, shorts are easier. Pants, this is what I have to do with pants. I have to take sock and the shoe off of the pants. Off the leg. I have to put the pants on the leg. I have to put the sock and shoe back on the leg. I then have to put the leg on. And then I can put the pants on. See? It's not as easy as everyone thinks because I don't have that flexibility like everybody else. Because as it is, as it is, you know, you can see it straight. It's pretty much a piece of metal just straight down. To twist and turn, I don't have that ability. I just don't. Not anymore. Not like I used to. Not because I'm older, but because it's a new type of leg. And I'll get into that in the next question, but it can definitely be a challenge getting dressed. That's a challenge. Since I've gotten these new types of prosthetics, which are suction based, I've had to deal with muscle swelling, leg swelling, blisters, things that I didn't have to deal with before, as well as some random phantom pains that happened a couple of weeks ago. Every time I took a step, I was like I was hitting a nerve or something because it was just sending pain straight up the stump, and it hasn't done it again since. I can't explain it. I don't know why. And it happens. I mean, it's what I have to deal with. You know, there's some people who have migraines and they have to deal with those. I have to deal with the prosthetic. If it's too much for me to do, I do have my crutches. Living here in Central Florida, if it gets too humid out, I definitely won't wear the leg for long periods of time because I can actually rub myself raw. It's plastic that's rubbing up against me. It's a rubber, but it's still too much activity can cause some irritation, and then I will be unable to walk. It just is. It is what it is. What types of prosthetics have I had? Well, these are suction based. I used some of the very first ones I had were basic legs. I used to have like a hinge through it, and it just swung freely. As I got older, the hinge was still there, and it was actually wood, quote unquote, and it was a hydraulic unit. And then I finally upgraded to computerized with plastic. It's got the Horde logo on it. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So I've had to do, I've had quite a few of them. I still have quite a few of them, like in the garage and everything. Maybe one day I can show them on camera, but I have to find them. I'm not looking for them. Any funny stories? Yes, quite a few. My favorite one is when I was about 2nd grade or so. I was playing kickball at the daycare that my sister and I went to at the time, and switching from offense to defense. I tripped, and I thought I tripped over the second base root because the second base was a tree. And I stood up, I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm really light. Oh, I'm so light. One thing to keep in mind, those prosthetics are about 10 pounds each. I look down and half my leg is on the ground. And I'm like, oh, there it is. I've had, what was some of the, when I was still in 2nd grade, I had realized that my foot could twist off, and I was playing with my foot, and I was twisting it off and twisting it back on and twisting it off and twisting it back on, and I twisted all the way off, and I just shot my hand in the air and went, Miss Peru, that was my teacher thing. My foot fell off. It's things like that. I have been brought up to, it's there. Ain't shit you can do about it. Well, so might as well have some fun with it. And that leads us to our final question. would I ever consider like a leg transplant or some of those like cybernetic, where they link it into your nervous system and you can... No, never. Not in a million years. I'm used to those. I have used those. It's great that they're doing some things like that. Wonderful. Don't want it. Not personally. I don't need it. I'm good. And I think that'll wrap it up for this week for Ask Ecto. Until next time, until next week, I will see you guys next time. And that's it for this week. I thank you very much, guys. This is, of course, Ask Ecto. There is a... Down below, I got you a little email address. That's containment.gaming84@gmail.com. Check that out. Send me anything for Ask Ecto. Just put Ask Ecto in the header and send your question, and I will answer it. Of course, anything that I don't deem as worthy, I will delete, and so forth. But there you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, favorite, and comment.